Having said that, however, some of the inclusions in that proposal, the ones that Hamas agreed to here, were already concessions that Hamas had negotiated on and accepted, conditions that Hamas had accepted prior to this Gaza peace proposal. Full text of the Hamas response to Trump. Okay, we'll get to this breaking news story right now. As you guys know, there was a fake peace plan that was put forward. The peace plan had a bunch of additional Benjamin Netanyahu provisions added onto it. All of the Arab states that actually participated in the peace plan, once again, had very little Palestinian input, no Palestinian input whatsoever. All the Arab countries actually came out and said, what the fuck? America, you just added a bunch of random shit to this like so-called 21-point peace plan that was not initially on the agreement that we put together. What the fuck's that about? Turns out it was Benjamin Netanyahu that added those provisions. But it also doesn't end there. Benjamin Netanyahu literally left the White House like 20 minutes after they did that joint press conference. He left the White House and delivered a speech in Hebrew to the Israeli audience, to the Israeli population, saying, don't worry, this peace plan is fucking bullshit. We're going to keep killing them. Okay? And I said that this was, again, not about like ending this bloodshed, but instead simply managing the PR of Israel as it continues with this bloodshed. Now, of course, yeah, he was on the White House lawn when he delivered that speech. I know. Now, there were many different like insane provisions added onto that. Hamas has seemingly taken the bluff and once again said, sure, we'll bite. Regarding Hamas's response to the proposal of the U.S. President Trump, out of concern to stop the aggression and the genocide being inflicted upon our steadfast people in the Gaza Strip, and based on national responsibility and commitment to the principles, rights, and supreme interests of our people, the Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, conducted in-depth consultations with its leadership bodies, extensive consultations with the Palestinian forces and factions, as well as discussions with brotherly mediators and friends in order to reach a responsible position in dealing with the plan proposed by U.S. President Donald Trump. After thorough study, the movement has made its decision and has delivered the following response to the brotherly mediators. The Islamic resistance movement, Hamas, appreciates the Arab, Islamic, and international efforts, as well as the efforts of U.S. President Donald Trump aimed at halting the war in the Gaza Strip, achieving a prisoner exchange, allowing immediate entry of humanitarian aid, rejecting the occupation of the Strip, and opposing the displacement of Palestinian people from it. In this context, and in a manner that achieves an end to the war and the full withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, the movement announces its approval to release all prisoners of the occupation, both living and the bodies of the deceased, according to the exchange formula included in President Trump's proposal, and with the provisions of appropriate field conditions for carrying out the exchange process. In this regard, the movement affirms its readiness to immediately enter into negotiations through the mediators to discuss the details. The movement also reiterates its approval to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body composed of independents, technocrats, based on Palestinian national consensus and supported by Arab and Islamic backing. Now, once again, all of this is the Hamas proposal. This was the Hamas proposal. Hamas said that they would disband politically, not disarm, of course, but disband politically and allow a Palestinian technocratic committee to rule the Strip. However, the Trump peace process, the 21-point program, does not actually do any of those things. The Trump peace program wants there to be a Palestinian commitment to Donald Trump and Tony Blair. Now, Tony Blair obviously is a major ally to Israel. He is basically the stand-in for Israel there. He is the stand-in for Western interests here. He is the stand-in for Israel here, and therefore it would render the technocratic Palestinian committee useless. Okay? Once again, removing autonomy and sovereignty and dignity from the Palestinian population. Okay? Also, I am noticing a lack of statements about disarmament, which was a non-starter, understandable, for not only Hamas, but the Palestinian population in its entirety. As for the other issues included in the President Trump's proposal that relate to the future of the Gaza Strip and the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, these are subjects to a comprehensive national position and must be passed on relevant international laws and resolutions. These matters shall be discussed within a unified Palestinian national framework in which Hamas will participate and contribute with full responsibility. The Islamic resistance movement, Hamas. Did we lose the rewind function already? Wait, you did already? This response is the most perfect possible response they could have to this. I admire their strategic consistency in the face of all this horror. Yeah, but they're not gonna bite. This comes after President Donald Trump gave Hamas a 6 p.m. Sunday deadline to agree to a deal or else. POTUS, an agreement must be reached by Hamas by Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Washington, D.C. time. Every country has signed on. If this last chance agreement is not reached, all hell, like no one has ever seen before, will break out against Hamas. That's what he said. So make no mistake, a senior Hamas official released this statement, and the statement is basically a reiteration of what Hamas has already said. Yeah, Hamas says it accepts some elements of Trump's peace plan, but that others require further negotiation. Except this is their proposal. This has been their proposal. This is not different than previous proposals. Do you understand? This has been the proposal from Hamas for almost a fucking year, for longer than a year at this point. Meanwhile, Israel has announced that anyone that remains in Gaza City will be treated as a terrorist. Why has no one asked, why are we negotiating an end to the genocide? So many outlets are misreading this statement and leaving important details out. Hamas agrees to hand over hostages under the Trump peace plan for Gaza. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand what Hamas is saying here, okay? They're looking at Hamas agreeing to their concessions that they've made already and simply assuming that this is a full-blown recognition of the Trump peace proposal, okay? One that Trump lied about, by the way, when he claimed he sent over to Hamas envoys anyway. They never did. This was basically put together by every party except for the Palestinians. Having said that, however, some of the inclusions in that proposal, the ones that Hamas agreed to here, were already concessions that Hamas had negotiated on and accepted, conditions that Hamas had accepted prior to this Gaza peace proposal. Now, the very fact that they are making it seem as though it's up to Hamas to end this genocide is also insane, because Israel is doing the genocide. Hamas is not doing the genocide. It is Israel that's doing the genocide. So it's up to Israel to stop the genocide, which we all know they don't want to. Why do you think they don't want to? Because I have 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a working brain in between them. And I have seen what Israel has done for the past 23 months. Because I've heard Israel speak. I meant explain for someone not knowing a lot. Israel has time and time again said they have no interest in actually doing any negotiation with Hamas whatsoever, openly, and that their desire is permanent ethnic displacement and ethnic cleansing and genocide. For the last 23 months, there have been numerous reasonable proposals that Hamas has put forward. Proposals that America has taken and claimed Israel was offering, as a matter of fact. Israel has always added a last-second poison pill provision out of nowhere after they agree to their own fucking ceasefire, supposedly, and have decided, actually, you know what? We're going to continue fucking fighting. Israel has also killed negotiators like Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. But I've heard the Bibi guy say he does not like war. Okay. Adolf Hitler has said he doesn't like bloodshed either. Good point. Killing in Qatar. I see it now. No, that's not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about blowing up Ismail Haniyeh in fucking Tehran. The Qatar one is recent. I can't tell if this guy is like trolling or not, or if there's a person who found themselves in my community at this stage and still goes, I don't know. Well, Bibi said, I mean, okay, I will watch more and learn. Okay, respect. This guy is awesome. He's the most open-minded, aloof guy I have ever met. Al Jazeera is covering the Hamas response. I don't know what happened. That was crazy. I got booted. That was weird. So I got booted off of the OBS, and then it kept telling me, like, it made it seem like there was a firewall or something. You are the most streamer that encounters Fs ever, bro. Okay, man, I got ops. I got government ops. Okay, Israel's after me. All jokes aside, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't know what just happened, but I got cooked.
20-point plan. But you have to remember that when it's a deal laid out by President Trump, Israeli forces would have an initial withdrawal at first, and then they would gradually withdraw as long as it took for the demilitarization of the Gaza Strip. So if there's a 10% demilitarization in Gaza, 10% more of Israeli troops would withdraw. That's how it's laid out in the deal.
American
and then eventually,
team to
once it gets up to a certain point, which is still up for negotiation, it seems, then Israeli troops would hand over everything to this international security force that's going to be in there. So there are so many moving parts here, and it seems like there are still some minor details that need to be hammered out. But you're right. Again, there is no trust between both of these sides. There are no guarantees when it comes to two groups who consider themselves complete enemies. So these mediators and these negotiators putting themselves in place, offering assurances, offering guarantees. President Trump is offering this as one of the most historic peace deals of the century. So you can understand that he wants credit for this. He is a deal maker. He wants the credit for ending the war on Gaza, for ending this conflict that has been going on for so long. And with all of the other sort of points in the deal, it can lead for a pathway to peace in the region in the future. But it's going to be up to both sides to try and narrow out those details as to how willing they are to expedite that process.
All right, Hamda, many thanks for that. We'll, of course, be checking in with you regularly as we digest this news. Well, as you know, we're covering Hamas's response to Trump's ceasefire proposal from multiple angles. We've got Rosalind Jordan in Washington, D.C. We just heard from Hamda Salhoud, who's in the Jordanian capital, Amman. Let's go back to Al Jazeera's Ali Hashim, who's here in the studio with me, helping to decode all of this. So the suggestion is a very positive response, at least from Hamas, in terms of what was on the table in front of it, but it's not a clear yes to all of the points. Some of them were inevitably going to be difficult and challenging for Hamas to swallow, let alone huge questions about what it may mean in the long run for the hopes of a Palestinian state. But this is what we appear to know so far, that Hamas is ready to immediately engage in negotiations through mediators. Let's start with that one. What does that mean, to continue negotiating through mediators?
Well, this is what Hamas accepted before. This is not new, and this is among what they've accepted in the past, negotiating over a prisoner swap. Now, regardless of how a prisoner swap is going to happen, is it going to be immediate and all the Israeli captives are going to be released once and for all, and then the Palestinian prisoners also will be released. This is a detail, but you know, when you read the statement, Hamas is linking this to a full withdrawal from Gaza, which is not in the paper, which is not in the 20 points paper. So this is another issue we have to take into consideration.
I lost someone on 710. Many people I know are gone, and whole families were destroyed. You have no right to push one-sided views to 33,000 people when you have not seen what they've seen and believe. Find out.
Peripheries of Gaza, which is in the paper.
So just to remind our viewers, it has always been a key priority for Hamas.
Bullet babies is not fun. My friend was found burned. Respect the victims.
In this 20-point proposal is a kind of...
I don't know how to explain this to you, chatter, Israeli chatter. You have no right to defend an ongoing genocide that Israel is doing, okay? Like, I respect the humanity of those who were killed on October 7. The problem for you, however, is that I also treat Palestinians as human beings as well. You do not. Because if someone was horrified by October 7, they should be fucking losing their minds about the countless October 7s that Israel has done to Palestinians before October 7 and certainly after October 7. as it has engaged in a relentless campaign of murder and ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement, a genocide. There is no I'm the victim here, okay? It's easy to say that, but block me initially when I say that. Lol, look at your chat. I am looking at my chat. I think you should probably look at the rest of the world for a second. This is one of the few moments where it seems as though you have left your fucking hug box and are not surrounded by like-minded Israelis, but instead you are for the first time ever seeing how the rest of the world sees you as a monster, because you are a monster. Only a fucking monster can defend a genocide. Understand, this is not about anti-Semitism at all. I don't know how you justify it to yourself. I know from what I have seen, many Israelis think, no, we're hell-bent on death and destruction. They simply don't understand. These people don't understand because they're anti-Semitic. We are not anti-Semitic. We just know right from wrong. We are anti-genocide. Look at the hate speech your chat does. Nope, the reason I see your weird Twitch, I try to understand the other side. Brother, there is no other side, okay? There's a reason why large majorities of the fucking planet look to Israel as a Nazi state, because it is a Nazi state. I need you to understand this. There's no hate speech happening in this chat, by the way. Everyone's saying we don't give a fuck or fuck you, you're a Nazi. That's not hate speech, dumbass. That's just a accurate reflection of events. You need to wake up, but look at them. I am looking at them. I am. They're calling you a bitch. They're calling you a Nazi, which is true. The rest of the world looks very different right now. And that is because of Israel. This didn't happen out of nowhere. Okay? So you confirm you hate. You can't make a full conversation. You can't. So you confirm you spread hate speech? Wait, what are you saying? If you think saying fuck Israel is hate speech, then yeah. Okay? Israel can suck my dick. Israel's a Nazi country. And you are a Nazi for defending Israel's Nazi behavior. There are anti-Zionist Jews in Israel that are in this fucking community, and they would say the same thing to you. Okay? You dumb fuck. That's not hate speech. That's just saying the truth. The problem is, I think a lot of people in Israel think that, like, everywhere is Israel. Okay? They think everywhere is the fucking West Bank, where they could just, like, you know, kick and spit on people and do whatever the fuck they want. Show them to me. What do you mean, show who to you? See, this is what I mean. You don't get to boss me around, dipshit. Okay? I know that you live in a Jewish supremacist hug box, an ethno state that has basically designed the world at your fucking mercy, but that's not how it works in the real world. Do you understand? Show them to me. Israel number one. Fuck you. You can't make argument. Come here. I will spit on you. Like, where is this entitlement coming from? Brother, I swear to God, I think this is a byproduct of, like, unlimited fascist ideology, which is what Zionism is. Zionism is fascism. And because of that ethno-religious supremacist ideology going unchecked for so long, people who defend Israel have developed a sense of entitlement that is so indecent to the average person. It literally cuts to the very core of every human being. Like, even if Israel wasn't doing a fucking genocide and you behave this way, people will be like, dog, I think I'm like 10% more anti-Semitic after having this interaction with you. If you were to just, like, behave this way when you didn't get your wishes across at a fucking regular, like, at a regular coffee shop, when you're like, when you didn't get your order, you know? It's so strange. It's so strange. It's like this disgusting, repulsive sense of entitlement. Like everyone is your fucking little cattle. Everyone's your little slave. You're like, what do you mean? Show me. Who are the anti-Zionist Israelis? Show me the Jews you are sheltering. Show them to me now. The fuck? Who the fuck are you? It's funny. You get mad. You feel the need to curse. 40 years old, ugly guy. You can't even talk normally. I'm sorry, what? Nah, this is a child for sure. Anyway, hopefully one day you'll understand that the entire world despises Israel for very good reason. And you're kind of demonstrating that right now, as a matter of fact. And this is a microcosm of why so many people are genuinely repulsed. It's sad because there's like wonderful anti-fascist, anti-Zionist Jews that are basically stuck in Israel right now. And they're like, well, we have to both deal with these fucking assholes in Israel. And then also the rest of the world would look at us weirdly, no matter what, forever. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Andre and the other dude. What was his name? Greenberg? The ones that like tried to run into Gaza. That was beast mode. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, let's get back to the Hamas response to the proposal.
The president said there's not much wiggle room here, although Hamas wants to negotiate. Let's talk about Hamas's goals. And does this deal line up with those goals?
Listen, I think in terms of what we've just heard from Hamas, there are significant differences between what it's saying and what President Trump's proposals were. And it's going to test President Trump's willingness to negotiate on this. Did
you shave your beard to hide the gray hair, showing that you're actually a 50-year-old man?
You can still see. Shifted or largely shifted the goalpost. I mean, they're saying all the right things. We're ready to release all the hostages, but when the conditions allow. But what does that mean? And again, intrinsic in President Trump's 20-point peace plan were a lack of detail. What is the timescale for the phased Israeli withdrawal and Hamas decommissioning, handing over its weapons, and essentially assigning itself out of existence? I think there's more that we don't know than we do know right now. I think there is a risk here that everyone in their willingness to want to see this as a positive is interpreting it as Hamas essentially agreeing to President Trump's statement. I'm not so sure that is the case there. They're certainly saying a lot of the right things. But if you drill down and see what little detail is out there, and it's the negotiators who've got it all, there isn't enough there, I think, at the moment, for President Trump or Netanyahu to agree to.
Still a lot of questions, Ian Panel. Thank you for that. And Mary Bruce, thank you as well. The news never stops. You can find us anywhere you stream live news. And if you are on the go, we're on the ABC News app.
Guys, I know Hamas agreed to release the hostages. I know. But they have agreed to release the hostages since October 10th, 2023. It's not up to Hamas to agree to release the hostages. Please understand, it is up to Israel to agree to Hamas's agreement to release the hostages. This has been going on for 2 fucking years. Can we please be a little bit more normal about this stuff at this stage? How many fucking deals has Israel spoiled after Hamas agreed to it? I'm just telling you my assessment from what I have seen. Hamas, once again, came out and said all of the 21-point peace plan proposal concessions that we had conceded to prior, all the provisions that we had conceded to prior in like a million different negotiations that we said yes to, we say yes to once again. That's all they said. The only additionals that I was wondering about was the disarmament part, which was a non-starter for Hamas. And I think they said that they would even be down for disarmament as long as it was handed off to a Palestinian state, whichever Palestinian state takes over after Hamas dissolves. Israel will never allow that to happen.
8 years, there are lots of resolutions, lots of recognition of the rights of the Palestinians, no matter how.
Did you just blame Israel for Hamas not releasing the hostages? Lamau, what backwards, uneducated sack of shit you are. Dude, are people who are pro-Israel capable of thinking clearly? Or did they just respond like fucking animals? Because it sounds like they just genuinely go, lol, what the fuck are you saying? Yes, I'm blaming Israel for everything. Just like I'm blaming Israel for October 7 as well. Okay? Of course I'm blaming Israel because I have a fucking brain. Israel is the responsible party for the fucking genocide, dipshit. How many times has Hamas actually said yes to a ceasefire negotiation that meant the release of all hostages? You know who else is blaming Israel for Hamas not releasing the hostages? The fucking hostage families. But you obviously don't give a shit about any of that. Nah, you're a literal brain dead clown gassed up by losers. One of the best parts about this stuff is that I've been hearing this from Zionist pieces of shit from the fucking start, right? I've been hearing this since October 7. I've been hearing this since October 8, since I went live on October 8, 2023. The problem now is, back then when they used to say this, they actually had the backing of large majorities of the population in the Western world, in the United States of America especially. Now when they say this, it's just them. Okay? There's like 8 total people who fucking still have this kind of attitude. Sucks to suck, big dog. You got no more allies. You are such a repulsive enterprise that Western populations, who are normally so agnostic to all the violence that goes on in the region, have turned around and are revolting against their governments for refusing to put an end to Israel. Think about how much everybody fucking hates you, okay? Think about how much everybody hates Israel now. For such great reason, for the record. It is the most hate. Israel is so genocidal and so entitled that it has caused people to reconsider whether liberal capitalist democracies actually abide by the majority wishes at all. Like, that's how fucking impactful this has been, because the entire world hates Israel, including the populations in the Western world, and they hate Israel so much for its crimes that they are demanding their governments put a stop to it. And when their governments refuse to put a stop to it, they're now reconsidering whether or not democracy is real at all. Think about that. And all of this happened in spite of the Diddy sentencing. Are you out of your fucking mind, dude? I am going to put you on a rocket ship and send you to space, to outer space, for a week. Okay? Like, do you think I give a fuck about the Diddy sentencing right now? Get the fuck out of my chat, dude. Holy shit. Yeah, we see Israel the same way you see Nazi Germany. You just don't see it because you are in Nazi Germany and you are a part of the SS. That is the only reason.
From the White House.
All right, Sultan, always good to hear your thoughts on that. Sultan Barakat joining us there from Doha.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's speak now to senior Hamas member Musa Abu Marzouk, who is joining us. Many thanks for joining us here on Al Jazeera. So, as we have been saying, we have the official statement from Hamas.
Do you want to list off the people
saying that Hamas is willing to release Israeli captives with suitable conditions? Can you explain what those conditions are?
We're talking about the conditions to release all the president.
How much does Hamas pay you? Does Hamas pay you to support them? Dog, do you think Hamas is the most... Hamas would have to be the richest country on the fucking planet.
War prisoners, the war gonna stop. The second...
Great question. The answer is $0, okay?
Withdraw from Gaza Strip.
I would, if hating Israel, if hating Israel costs money, I would pay it. And I have, in many ways, actually, as I have. It's been very costly, financially, to hate Israel openly, as much as I do. And I will gladly pay it any day of the fucking week, okay? Because it is the truth. Because Israel must stop, okay? It's that simple.
All of the occupation areas to go back to the border between Gaza and Gaza. This is the kind of conditions.
Yeah, Abu Ubaida is fucking subscribing to me for $6 a month.
About this, because it's impossible to release all of the war prisoner, the bodies or the corpse and the lives life's war prisoners, because the corpse, we need months to looking and digging, and
Hamas would have to be the richest country on the planet. Wonderful geography knowledge.
remove the rubbles and all of these
Yes,
things.
dude. I know Hamas is not a country. Okay, I misspoke. You got me. Everybody still hates your stupid fucking country. Sorry, but hey, better luck next time. Pay more fucking losers $7,000 a pop to be like, oh, why don't you like Israel? Why don't you like Israel? Yeah. Get Barry Weiss's annoying ass to control CBS. Maybe everyone will change.
That these issues could be solved before the deadline set by Donald Trump, which is Sunday evening. You have listed a lot.
No, we discussed the issue with the Palestinian parties and faction, and we discussed that with the leaders of Palestinians and with everybody about how can Hamas respond for the initiative President Trump. And we have a lot of discussion also with the mediators and with the other friends and other official people to how to respond with this kind of, plan. And after that...
What if we have additional dumbasses today?
Out of discussions...
The thing you don't get is that you are just like the right-wing people you hate, just on the left side.
With their leaders inside, outside, everywhere.
Okay, so on the right side of history.
Today with
and not grifting?
That response and telling...
what is this?
We received the Trump initiative by the mediators, Egypt
Pink
and
news.
Qatar, and sent response with the same thing with the Qatar and,
why is pink news?
And Egypt.
What you have suggested is that you are concerned about the time frame that has been given to you for the release of...
I like that pink news is yelling at me because I said we shouldn't concede to fucking anti-trans framing.
And very, very difficult. Are you concerned overall about the time frame of the plans that this Trump proposal seems to suggest?
So I guess President Trump changed his mind and changed his talking every time. Sometimes he talking about something in right, and suddenly he talking about the same thing in left. But he talking about many issues, many notes in his initiative, not dealing with Hamas. Why he asking Hamas to respond for that? Many points. It is related to the international governments and the United Nations, and related to the Arab League, and related to the Palestinians themselves, and related to the PLO. Related with all of this, we don't have that answer for all in behalf of all of those parties. Then we have to discuss with the Palestinians themselves about most of the point from point 9 until 19. It is we have to discuss all of those points with the Palestinian, and we're gonna discuss with the Palestinian with more responsibility also, and we come up with to answer all of the questions coming from the American initiative. But
this sounds like Hasan's Israeli accent to a tweet. No, this is a very clear-cut Arab accent. He said BLO. When talking about the PLO, dude, are you kidding me? That's the most Arab accent. That's the most Arab unk of all time.
Authority. Let me ask you this, because it appears, and
bro said BLO,
that Hamas has consented to the handover of the governance of the Gaza Strip to a technocratic government.
Yes.
That's disrespectful.
Hamas want
to say that a Hamas leader has a Israeli accent.
I guess we discussed this with the Egyptian initiative among the Palestinians themselves, and we decide for
I'm trans. Pink News was literally caught on tape saying they need to abandon trans people.
the special group, which is technocrat, to control Gaza Strip in the first day of the when the Hamas, give up to all of the controlling Gaza Strip to those people, and they're gonna do their work and with connecting with the Palestinian Authority and with the Egyptian themselves also, because they are dealing with this directly with all of the Palestinian faction. For that reason, in the day one, Hamas in charge to administrate anything in Gaza Strip.
If Hamas will not be in charge to administrate anything in the Gaza Strip, according to this proposal by Donald Trump, Hamas needs to lay down its weapons, completely disarm, that amnesty will be given to some Hamas members if they are willing to agree to this proposal. What do you make of that? Is that something that Hamas would be willing to do, to disarm and to also potentially seek amnesty?
First of all, Israeli, the issues that Hamas, the weapon among Hamas, 90% of their capability, they destroyed it. Then there is nothing with Hamas talking about it, about women. The second thing, since in the beginning of this conflict, we told every mediator and everybody there, Hamas resists the occupation. And if the occupation ends and the Palestinians control themselves and there is a Palestinian state.
Does Hamas look up to Trump? The way Hamas is doing the exact same thing that everybody else who has to deal with Trump is doing, which is to try to play nice and play into his
capabilities and
play into his narcissistic tendencies.
That's what we said from the beginning. We don't need the weapon if there is no occupation.
Could I please ask you one last question? It's regarding one of the key points, point number 9 in the proposal, that the Gaza Strip...
This is framed well, though, because President Trump responds to Hamas's acceptance of his peace plan. Stay tuned. But once again, Israel hasn't made the boss call yet, so who knows?
A key role for the former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair. How do you interpret that? What does that mean to you and obviously the people of Palestine to see a body like that in charge in the interim?
We see the Palestinians, they will refuse any kind of anybody to control control themselves. The Palestinians should control themselves. The Palestinians, they left the British colonies in 1917 until 1948 under the government under the UN resolution. But after that, they promised the Jewish state for the Jew. Then the Palestinian become refugee, and we will never accept anyone not Palestinian to control the Palestinian. This is not belong to Hamas only. This belong all of the Palestinian, and the Palestinian Authority and the PLO. They should say what their response about this. And we can't bring someone like Tony Blair to be governor in Gaza, because this man, he destroyed the Iraqi when he lied to the international communities and UN that the Saddam Hussein, he has a nuclear weapon, and he has also at that time. He had
yes, he's basically saying what we've been saying, what he has said already, which is the people of Palestine deserve to have control over their own destiny, their own dignity. They should control their own leadership. They should choose their own leadership. That's it.
Was initiated by Russia and American. He was the
Bro, this is why America gets so much mileage. Saddam wasn't a good guy, though. Oh, shit, dude. Okay, your dad's not a good guy. Do we get to kill him? Like, what do you mean? What the fuck are we talking about? Saddam wasn't a good guy. You know who's an even worse guy than Saddam in that situation? Tony Blair and George W. Bush, okay? They together killed 1 million Iraqis. Way more than Saddam ever could, honestly. The fuck?
Angles. We've got Rosalind Jordan.
This dynamic is so busted. It's like...
In the Jordanian capital, Amman. Ali Hashem is here sitting beside me in the studio. Let's try and wait.
The job is almost done at this point. They're just buying time to relocate the people. There are no real efforts here. It's just a land grab per usual. I don't know. Maybe who knows, man? I'll tell you what my take is after seeing what Trump says. My suspicion is Israel says fuck no to this again, and they'll try to fuck it up. They'll try to fuck it up as they are known to. Having said that, however, maybe Donald Trump has a different calculation here where he thinks enough is enough. You know, Israel, everybody hates you. Everybody hates you. And we can't just like be attached to the hip in this way. But I don't think Bibi will ever withdraw for the reasons why I have mentioned 1 million times over. Like, I'd believe that like Israel would do a false flag attack before they would fucking withdraw. I feel like. Because when the dust is settled, if they are not controlling the excavation every step of the way, and that international human rights organizations are allowed full reign over Gaza, Western journalists are allowed into Gaza to show the full scale of the atrocities, your parents and your grandparents who kind of think it's really messed up is going to start having the same opinions that you have had for months now about Israel. And Benjamin Netanyahu knows that better than anybody else. He knows that the reason why he has thwarted every effort for a ceasefire beyond like 6 days is because he knows if there's a ceasefire for too long and people have an unlimited appetite for peace, that it's going to be all the more difficult for him to continue this death and destruction campaign. And last but not least, when the Western world recognizes the full severity of this genocide, do you think Israel's going to be able to recover its standing in the rest of the planet? Do you think other countries are going to look to, like, when all of these atrocities are spoken openly and seen with Western eyes, do you think that people will look to those who did this, look to those who committed such heinous acts of violence and say, yeah, these are normal people. They can exist in polite society alongside ourselves? They won't.
The logistics behind that.
I know it sounds like I'm being too hopeful.
Is that something you think the Israelis are prepared to buy?
You guys, I understand your cynicism because you're tuned in every day. You are locked in. You know exactly what Israel has done. You know exactly what Israel has done. And once you recognize it, it's impossible to go back. Okay? Once you see it, it is virtually impossible to unsee it. And every day that goes by, you become more and more resentful. You understand, you go back on previous considerations that you had about, you know, maybe some other fears that you had about Muslims being barbaric and scary due to unlimited Islamophobia. You go back on that. And then you realize, like, maybe these guys weren't fucking barbaric. Actually, who's more barbaric here? It's the Western aligned nations that are beheading children with weapons, with drones, with bombs. They are the real barbarians. And once you get to that point, you think, how can people see what I'm seeing and turn a blind eye to it or look the other way, right? But you forget, many people actually don't see what you're seeing. We think everyone is as tuned in to Israel's incalculable harm and its genocide to the same degree as everybody else. Like, you think everyone else is seeing it in the same way that you have seen it. They haven't. That's why I'm saying it's very significant for the Anderson Coopers of the world to also be forced to reckon with these atrocities. Okay? Now they see it. They're indecent. They're monsters. They know the truth, and they refuse to cover it. But when you have not just Cindy McCain or the UNESCO guy, but thousands of fucking white Westerners going there, NGOs, and consistently covering what's going on or what has taken place, and then they uncover the true death toll, the true magnitude of this genocide. All of the people that have said, yeah, what Israel's doing is wrong, but October 7 will no longer say, yeah, but October 7. And the people that don't say, but October 7, the people that are saying what Israel's doing is a genocide, will then also understand why people have resisted towards the apartheid and taken up arms against Israel. Okay? People's positions will shift further and further to the left on this issue.
What's going to happen to the Gaza Strip? Does this deal essentially go out the window? What would happen to the territory that has been taken and annexed by the Israeli military? What's going to happen to the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip? There are no guarantees, and what Hamas is looking for are assurances moving forward.
Not bait. Why do you think Trump is this close to a peace deal while Biden never was? Come on, man. Come on, dude. It's been 2 years. I'm sure even an ultra-Zionist like Biden would have at this point been like, all right, we got to pack it up, Jack. But then again, we don't even know if Donald Trump is actually close to a peace deal, okay? Remember, he's a fucking liar. Look no further than how he kept repeatedly claiming, I don't know what Project 2025 is, only to now have Russ Vought, only to flex about how Russ Vought, the author of Project 2025, is actually doing Project 2025 right now. And the same thing goes for what he has said about the West Bank, where he was like, oh my God, I will never let Israel annex the West Bank. Yeah, that's right. You say that now, except Miriam Adelson gave you $250 million to say the exact opposite. So, I don't fucking believe you. Donald Trump has been such a monstrous dick rider of Israel, exactly as hard as Biden has gone on Israel, if not even harder than Biden has gone at times with like all the memeing and the AI shit. More honest than Biden in his lack of interest in seeing the humanity of Palestinians. I don't think they are close to a peace deal, but we shall see. Hamas agrees to release hostages. Conditions are met. That's disingenuous framing. Hamas leader Musa Abu Marzouk told Al Jazeera, we will hand over the weapons to the coming Palestinian state, and whoever rules Gaza will hold the weapons. This is in response to accepting the Trump-Gaza deal. So he's not saying that they're disarming. This is not disarmament. He's saying that Palestinians will still hold those weapons and will still have sovereignty. I hope Donald Trump, in his endless narcissism, sees this as a fucking W. So we await his response, okay? We await his response. Could you explain why all previous proposed peace deals or ceasefires have fallen through? Yeah, easy. Israel wanted to keep killing more babies. Sounds crazy. I know that sounds crazy when I say it. You're like, come on, man, really? Yes, Israel wanted to keep killing more Palestinians, okay? Majority women, children, and the elderly. It sounds insane, but it's the truth. Trump reposted the Hamas statement on Truth Social, so I think he's happy. What would the most realistic peace plan look like? Not the most idealistic. The most realistic peace plan. I mean, it's not even idealistic. Is a one state. Israel disbands. Zionism is treated like Nazism. There are Nuremberg-style trials conducted. Truth and reconciliation committees are created. There's reparations afforded to all Palestinians. All Palestinians in diaspora are allowed a right to return. And then there's a single, solitary, secular state there where Palestinians and Israelis, side by side, can have a wonderful, diverse democracy. That is the idealistic, or not even the idealistic, but that is the correct thing. Okay? That is the appropriate thing. That's the moral thing to do in this situation. But we do not live in a just world. We live in an unjust world. And in an unjust world, the realistic solution, I guess, is entirely dependent on how much more bloodshed and how much more violence Western leadership is willing to entertain. So far, we've seen unlimited bloodshed. What would you call that country? Oh, I would call it Palestine. That's what I would call that country. But I don't necessarily care about what to call that country as long as it's a single, solitary, secular state. But the just and moral thing to do is to call it Palestine. Early Zionists also wanted to call it Palestine. The name Israel was a newer invention for biblical purposes, to bring in the Bible thumpers on board. And it was very successful.
Acknowledgement of the fact that Hamas has responded. Well, it's not clear. What is clear is that, according to the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, posting on the X platform, there is a photo of the U.S. president sitting at his desk in the Oval Office, surrounded by TV cameras.
Ideally be secular, but ultimately it should be up to the Palestinians themselves.
To Hamas's response to the administration's ceasefire proposal. We don't know when that recording is going to be released. Of course, we are watching very, very closely so that we can bring that information to you, but this is something that the Trump administration has said earlier on that there was a firm deadline.
New York Times editorialized the title, said Hamas agrees to release all hostages, but then they changed it change it. Look at the original link. Yeah.
Or there would be deadly consequences.
Hamas says it agrees to release all hostages in Gaza, and then they said, as conditions are met.
They have received a response. We are expecting a recorded message, potentially from the U.S. president. That's it for me, Nick Barker, for now. I'll be back in a moment.
And before people say, oh, dude, this is so meaningless, it just gives Trump something to gloat about. What did I tell you? If Donald Trump ends the genocide, okay, if he ends the genocide and offers Palestinians dignity and sovereignty, which I don't think he will, I would fucking kiss his toes and deliver the Nobel Peace Prize to him personally. I don't give a fuck what the reasoning is here, okay? Do you not understand? It's just like, a win's a win. I don't care what the ambitions are there, okay? I do think he would be worthy of a fucking Nobel Peace Prize if he actually did literally stop the bloodshed, stop the genocide, and offer Palestinian sovereignty, in spite of the fact that he was a belligerent and was responsible for the fucking genocide. Man, I don't think that's a fair point at all. What do you mean? Nobel Peace Prize is mostly bullshit anyway. I know Obama got one, so obviously it's fucking bullshit, but rare bad take. Dude, I'm just explaining to you how desperate I am to end the bloodshed, okay? This doesn't mean that Trump is not a belligerent party here, and so is Joe Biden. Just as a Palestinian, I understand I am desperate too. You don't give the peace prize to the person who holds some responsibility to the genocide. Do you think Palestinians would agree to that take, bro? I think some Palestinians might at this point. But no, I understand. Obviously, he's also a fucking Nazi who is also responsible for the genocide, chatters. I know. But look at the way Hamas is talking to Donald Trump, in spite of the fact that you think they don't fucking know that Donald Trump literally offered a feint, like a fake ceasefire proposal, so that Hamas could get together, the Politburo could get together in Doha, and then let Israel bomb Doha. You think Hamas doesn't fucking know that America is responsible for this shit? They do. Look at the way they're talking to Donald Trump, being like, oh, thank you, Mr. President, for, we believe in you. We believe in you for, offering up peace. Do you think that Hamas thinks like Donald Trump is responsible for peace here? Or do you think that they recognize him as a belligerent party here? It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. Like I said, Barack Obama got a peace prize. If if it means that Donald Trump actually packs this entire thing up and offers Palestinians sovereignty, then who gives a fuck if he gets this symbolic bullshit peace prize and strokes his fucking ego, even if he doesn't deserve it because he is also a belligerent party to the genocide. Do you not understand the point I'm making? Anyway, I still don't believe this is like going to happen. I still think that it is going to be, Israel's not going to let it happen. That's what I think. I think this is Hamas abiding by. I think this is Hamas abiding by the standards that they set, like basically reframing the conversation and putting the responsibility of destroying yet another round of ceasefire negotiations, shifting the blame over to Israel, because their recognition of the ceasefire plan only factored in concessions that they had made prior. Nothing about like Trump being the not having like nothing about the Tony Blair being the viceroy or anything like that.
Remove the rebels and all of these things. I guess we discussed this with the Egyptian initiative among the Palestinians themselves, and we decide for the special group, which is technocrat, to control Gaza Strip in the first day of when the Hamas, give up to all of the controlling Gaza Strip to those people, and they're gonna do their work and with connecting with the Palestinian Authority and with the Egyptian themselves also, because they are dealing with this directly with all of the Palestinian faction. For that reason, in the day one, Hamas will not be in charge to administrate anything in Gaza Strip. The Palestinians, they will refuse any kind of anybody to control control themselves. The Palestinians should control themselves. The Palestinians, they left the British colonialism in 1917 until 1948. And
why did he name Tony Blair specifically? Because Tony Blair is an Israel stooge, and he's been working closely with Israel. I think that the whole like back and forth between Benjamin Netanyahu and Tony Blair being like, oh, this is unacceptable, is also fake. Not to get too conspiratorial, but I think that Israel actually wants Tony Blair to be the viceroy of Gaza, because Tony Blair is a stooge for Israel, and therefore they can't openly be like, oh, we're really excited about Tony Blair controlling the Gaza Strip, because if they were to say that, then more people would be skeptical of that narrative, I feel like. But I've never understood why they even acted as though this would be devastating for Israel's needs. Tony Blair is the butcher of Gaza. Or not butcher of Gaza, sorry. The butcher of Iraq. And not only was he just as responsible, maybe not as responsible, but shares a significant bit of the blame for the numerous war crimes that took place in Iraq. He has been a giant advocate for Israel and has played a formative role in working in unison with Israel on international incidents, including, but not limited to, the Gaza Holocaust Fund that they set up at BCG, Boston Consulting Group, that Tony Blair was a part of that initiative. Remember when the Boston Consulting Group came out with the Gaza Riviera project that kind of looked like the AI video that Donald Trump had put forward about like what Gaza would look like under the rulership of Donald Trump, under full American control? Yeah, Boston Consulting Group basically put that design in action with Tony Blair. So that's the reason why I don't trust that motherfucker, because I think he's going to basically be a viceroy for the Western interests in Gaza. Okay, well, we're still waiting on this fucking POTUS speech. God damn, how long does this fucking take, man? How long? You know he is doing a phone call to Bibi. No, it's not because they don't have a march. It's because Benjamin Netanyahu is chewing his fucking ear right now, being like, Mr. President, don't you dare come out and accept this ridiculous anti-Semitic ceasefire. Everyone knows ceasefire is already blood libel. Israel has killed 0 people in the Gaza Strip. Mr. President, you have been a wonderful ally to Israel your whole life, and I love you. Please do not accept this Hamas ceasefire. Ceasefire is a dirty word, an anti-Semitic word. Now give me $20 billion. The White House Twitter account is saying Hamas's response is for Trump. President Donald J. Trump released an important statement on Hamas's response to President Donald Trump's proposal. No, they're not. No, they're not saying that. Wait, what? Oh. On Hamas's response to U.S. President Trump's proposal, out of keenness in the end of aggression and genocide being carried out against Wait, what the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God, they released it like that was Donald Trump's response. Oh my God, they released the Hamas response and then they said President Donald J. Trump releases important statement. Oh my God, oh my God, you're right. Oh wow, they're so stupid. Oh my God, it's official. Donald Trump is Hamas. No, it's a joke. They actually have a second, like this is the Hamas statement and then this is Trump's, well, I guess technically this is not a statement from Trump. This is just Donald Trump posting the Hamas statement. They just retweeted the Hamas statement. Wow. May Allah awaken the people to the evil doings of Israel and the United States. They retweeted a document saying there's a genocide being carried out. They deleted the post? Ain't no fucking... Okay. They just deleted the post? Okay. If you're in here and you're working for the White House comms team, you have to reveal it. That is fucking insane, bro. That was up for 20 minutes, dog. That was up for 20 minutes until I retweeted it just now. There is no fucking shot. Bro, shut the fuck up. I'm doing my best. They just fired my supervisor this morning. 20 minutes ago, Donald Trump's White House released the Hamas statement, which included, like, you know, saying that Israel's doing a genocide and whatnot, as the President Donald J. Trump releases important statement on Hamas's response to President Trump's proposal. They just only fucking posted the Hamas statement. It was up for 20 minutes. And then we realized that it was wrong and it was just the Hamas statement. And I made a joke saying Donald Trump is Hamas and I retweeted it and they immediately took it down. Too late, it's official.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
God, I fucking love that. I love that video so much, dude. It is the best video. All right, Washington, D.C., what are they saying?
What the Trump administration's reaction is going to be. We are, of course, waiting for this video to be released. We don't know when it's going to be released, whether it's going to be broadcast live to the agencies, which then we could all pick up and share with our audience, or whether it's going to come at some later time. But we do know now that the White House is aware of Hamas's response and is preparing some sort of reaction to it.
And Roz, I mean, Trump made it absolutely crystal clear that in his eyes this was going to be the last-ditch attempt to bring peace to the region. Is there any kind of suggestion that the United States might give Hamas any kind of room to maneuver? Was that in any way written into initial plans?
Well, I wasn't in the room when the negotiators on the American side were trying to figure out exactly how to put forward this idea of setting a deadline of 22 GMT or 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday, October 5th here in Washington. But certainly the U.S. president has expressed his frustration over the past several months that except for the first ceasefire.
Based on the statement just issued by Hamas, I believe they are ready for a lasting peace. Israel must immediately stop the bombing of Gaza so that we can get the hostages out safely and quickly. Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. We are already in discussions on details to be worked out. This is not about Gaza alone. This is about long-sought peace in the Middle East. Guys, is it happening? I don't know. It feels different.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
That's crazy. I mean, he is such a fucking monstrous piece of shit. He is such a monstrous piece of shit, dude. This is too good to happen. You know what I mean? I just can't. So maybe there's no video. Maybe that's the only thing. Maybe that's the only thing he posed. If Bibi loses his seat, will Trump turn on him for being a loser? Yes, Trump. I don't think Donald Trump likes Benjamin Netanyahu that much. Nobody likes Benjamin Netanyahu. His own fucking voters don't like him. He's just such a arrogant little asshole. It's probably another trap, or they're basically fake. They're fake playing nice so that they can take the hostages out, and then Trump says go back and kill everybody.
Trump's post also urged, quote, all innocent Palestinians immediately leave this area of potentially great future death for safer parts of Gaza, unquote. He was not specific about how they should leave or which parts of Gaza are safer than others. Let's bring in Barak Ravid, a political and global affairs analyst for CNN. He also writes for Axios. Barak, you're so well sourced in what leaders are saying in the Middle East. 6 p.m. Sunday.
Bro, we're fucking let's go to the IDF guy. Thanks, Jake.
Does this feel
You're so well sourced? Okay, well, Trump already released a statement, CNN. We're fucking faster than CNN here. Don't you forget it. At the Hasan Abi broadcast, we are faster than CNN. We got to the Truth Social post and even did the Donald Trump May Allah awaken the people. We got to it way faster than Jake fake yapper ever could. Stronger, faster, better in every way.
Right now, it's far too dangerous to do that. President Trump continues and says, we are already in discussions on details to be worked
He's like,
out.
We brought you in. We brought you in, Barak Ravid, because you're so knowledgeable. Barak Ravid, also reading the same fucking Truth Social post we're reading.
To stop the war immediately after Hamas responds with a yes but to his proposal. I think this is a point we haven't been in since October 7th, and definitely we haven't been in since January 20th when President Trump came back to office.
It seems momentous. It seems potentially huge. I do wonder, it does seem like the sticking point about whether Hamas will play any role in the future of Gaza is one that really there can't be any compromise ever made on. Even the Arab League has been saying Hamas can't be part of the future, and Hamas has not agreed to that. But you think that they will be able to ultimately get past that?
I think that at the moment, to be honest, I think it doesn't matter. I think what President Trump just said, calling on Israel to stop the bombing of Gaza so that a hostage release and an exchange of prisoners could be implemented, I think this is the most important thing. It basically means that President Trump accepts Hamas's response as a positive response. And I think this is super dramatic because it paves the way for the release of hostages and for the end of the war.
You reported that President Trump told Netanyahu, I think on Sunday, that he needed to get on board with this peace proposal, or it would be a dramatic shift in U.S. foreign policy, right? Tell us more about that.
I think the shift is happening in front of our eyes right now. I think we are witnessing the shift right now. The question is whether Prime Minister Netanyahu will get with the program or not. And if he doesn't get with the program, there's going to be problems between him and President Trump, big problems.
Is he willing to take on the extreme right-wing zealots in his cabinet who don't want any peace, who want to annex Gaza, the Ben-Gvirs, the Smotriches of there? Is Netanyahu willing to side with Trump over them because their opposition could mean his government falls apart?
Benjamin Netanyahu will have election in the next year. I think most likely at the beginning of 2026. Benjamin Netanyahu's political situation is not good, to say the least. He will not be able to win an election if he is in a confrontation with Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is the most popular politician in Israel at the moment, and I don't see that changing. So Netanyahu needs Trump. He cannot move without Trump. He's totally dependent on Trump. And therefore, if President Trump tells him that he needs to stop the war, he will have no other choice but to stop the war or risk an all-out confrontation with Donald Trump.
Well, let us hope that this is actually a final step out of this horrific, horrific war. Barak Ravid, thank you so much. Joining us now, Atlantic Council Senior Fellow Ahmed Fouad Al-Khatib. Did I pronounce that correctly?
You sure did.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you so much.
Oh, my
I've read your
God.
name so many times.
Oh, my God.
I grew up in Gaza.
Oh, my God. First, Jake Tapper has an IDF guy on. Then he has an Atlantic Council guy on. God, I fucking hate mainstream media so much. Oh, my God. This is why your fucking parents' brains are poisoned, okay? This is why they're constantly in an oblivious state.
Surprised by President Trump's reaction.
Like, yeah, let's go hear from the guy who spent 23 months of the last genocide, 23 past months of the ongoing genocide, complaining about fucking pro-Palestinian campus protesters, dude. Oh my God, they're going to put this motherfucker in the Gaza committee. Oh my God, they're going to put him on the fucking committee. He's going to be like, oh my God, it's going to be him and like the son of Hamas guy and Tony Blair and like every single fucking Palestinian adjacent guy that's very clearly working in tandem with Israel.
Lack of precision in what they've agreed to maybe maintain some level of control and reign and try to reign without ruling directly. And that would present all sorts of other problems. But in the immediate future, I believe this could be a very welcome reprieve from the horror we've witnessed over the last 2 years.
Let's hope so. One of the sticking points seems to be that Hamas will not.
Yeah, they're going to put DJ Khaled on there. They're going to put DJ Khaled on the committee.
Any future state of Palestine. They want to be part of it. They insist they must be. The Arab League doesn't want it. Obviously, the Europeans and the Americans don't want it. What do the Palestinians want?
Well,
why are you asking him?
Belief Hamas is extremely deeply unpopular in the Gaza Strip, and some of that precedes October 7th.
Oh my God, that's not even true, dude. This is literally not even fucking true. Why are you asking this dipshit?
So Hamas really wants to remain relevant in the Palestinian street. It can no longer rely on the armed resistance narrative. It can no longer rely on holding the Palestinian people hostage against their will in Gaza, sealing their resources, diverting aid and money towards vanity resistance projects like the tunnels and rockets. And so
vanity resistance projects. Oh my God.
Have to actually present a nation.
Why don't you like this guy? Because he works for the Atlantic Council and he is a Palestinian face for the exact same shit that Israel's been doing. The reason why I don't like this guy is because dumb fuck white guys in the West go, oh, his name is Ahmed Fouad Al-Khatib. Obviously, he like was 5 years old when he was in Gaza and then left Gaza and has never been back to fucking Palestine at all. Doesn't even call himself a Palestinian, but instead calls himself a Gazan, for the record. Like, he is a token figure. Specifically, he's a token figure paid by a right-wing war hawk think tank by the name of Atlantic Council. And his express goal here is to just be like, every type of resistance that is existed against Israel is actually bad, and everybody hates them. And they're actually totally fucking responsible for Israel's genocide, which he won't say is a genocide, probably. Does he even say Israel's doing a genocide? No, right? He just spent every waking moment for the past 23 months shitting on pro-Palestine campus protesters, shitting on fucking anyone and everyone that resists against Israel's genocidal occupation. He is a collaborator. But because his bitch ass is
truce, the rejection of violence.
Yeah, his bitch ass is Palestinian. White people go, oh, well, finally, one of the good ones.
So that my people can travel. 70% of Gazans have never left the coastal enclave. And so if you open it up, you let people come in and out, commerce, connectivity beyond just Israel and Egypt, where Gaza squeezed in, I believe we could see.
He defended the Gaza Holocaust Fund over and over again. That's all you need to know for this motherfucker. The United Nations quite literally designated the GHF as being a responsible belligerent party using perfidy, a war crime, to kill people at aid drop locations. And he, up until that moment, actively defended it over and over again. He kept saying GHF is good. No one is asking you to fucking hug and kiss Hamas, okay? But very obviously, there is a type of commentary that you don't fucking engage in if you're actually pro-Palestine. Please define perfidy. It means tricking, okay? Deceit, lying. He's a genocide profiteer. He's worse than a collaborator. I mean, he's a collaborator and a genocide profiteer. I hate that, like, what we just watched on CNN is exactly how devious and how awful mainstream resources are when covering American foreign policy. Okay? First, you hear from a fucking IDF guy, literally a dude that is the IDF guy. He's the IDF like media guy, okay? He's the field officer for American news, okay? Barak Ravid. Then the only pro-Palestinian position that you hear is from a guy who's from the Atlantic fucking Council, man. It is a think tank. It is a pro-war think tank that exists in one of the two belligerents in this genocide, the United States of America. How fucking ridiculous. Yes, the Atlantic Council's top funders are the U.S. State Department and U.S. military contractors. Yes, it is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. No, of course, hear him saying he don't believe it's genocide or occupation. Lamau, he's such a ghoul, aside from the fact that he smears Palestinian journalists to get them killed. September 5th, 2025. Zionism, occupation, genocide. Words are regularly thrown around with little regard for nuance or multiple truths, turning them into conversation enders, rather than starting points for seriously needed discussions, debates, and discourse on complex topics impacting millions.
Because of the aforementioned, I have to occupy Palestinians. I have to kill Palestinians. I have to dispossess Palestinians because there's different strains of Zionism. So I think that that's important to understand. You don't have to like Zionism. You don't have to identify with it, but just to throw the term around. Genocide. I'm not a lawyer. Do I think what is happening in Gaza is a textbook definition of genocide? My personal opinion is no, I don't think so.
Thank God we don't care about Tubby's opinion. Brother, do you not understand? His entire purpose is to be a Palestinian in America that says that so that Jake Tapper can manufacture fucking consent. Yeah. Also, he hates me more than anybody else. Look at this. Hasan Piker, a horrible pro-jihad, pro-Hamas, pro-Houthi, pro-resistance personality who literally incited violence against me and instigated violent death threats along with his sidekick, the Bad Empanada, that required FBI intervention, is not only claiming he won't go to TwitchCon streamer fest due to safety concerns, but is getting platformed by the New York Times opinion page editorial board. The New York Times opinions editors told me to my face that my anti-Hamas pro-peace views aren't representative of Palestinians. Because they're not, you fucking idiot. I'm so glad that even the New York Times was like, dude, come on, you're a stooge for the Atlantic Council. Why the fuck would we let you write a goddamn paper? Yeah, it's much more honest to have fucking Brett Stevens come out and be like, I love genocide. Genocide is awesome, and Israel would never do it. But if it's doing it, it's great. Rather than have your fucking bitch ass come out there and be like, I'm a Palestinian, and the real problem isn't Israel doing a genocide, which it's not doing, but instead college campus protesters. How did you incite a death threat against them? I don't know, dude. I don't know what he's fucking talking about. Maybe I said drop in Twinkie, and he took that as a death threat. You know what I mean? He's like, how dare you tell me not to eat donuts? Fucking meatball. I've listened to you for 10,000 hours and never once recalled this motherfucker being mentioned. I mentioned him briefly once or twice. I don't really talk too much about collaborators. I don't really fucking care. And also, he was like a marginal figure until now. I suspect that going forward, he will try to present himself as like the peaceful guy. I'm not even going to give him fucking any additional attention. I've already given him too much. He'll make he'll love this. He'll fucking post a shit ton off of this. He'll be like, he wants me dead. I don't, dude. I don't want you dead. I don't want anybody dead.
Offered them virtually nothing new.
So obviously we were here 6 months ago, and you voted to keep the government open back then.
Yeah.
And you seemed to be against at the time.
Yeah, you want to know how much of a fucking rat he is? Okay? You want to know how much of a rat that piece of shit is? Ahmed Fouad Al-Khatib? Al Jazeera journalist Anas Al-Sharif and cameraman attempted to provoke a security incident at the Netzarim corridor. Yeah. And then Anas Al-Sharif was fucking killed. Stupid fucking fat rat piece of shit. suck my dick.